Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. Welcome to your cricket show with your host Ram. What a day here for Australia today. Glenn Maxwell becoming the fastest centurion in World Cup history. And what a century that was from Glenn Maxwell. Absolutely slammed the Netherlands bowlers to all regions of the park, one could call. And the way he played, he really took the breath away. And I thought this was one of the best innings played in the World Cup history because the way he played it. And so this particular cricket show is going to be totally dominated by talking about Glenn Maxwell, the cricketer, who today against Netherlands in Delhi at the at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in the 24th match of the World Cup of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 created history by slamming 106 runs of 44 deliveries, which included 9 fours and 8 sixes, which propelled the Aussies to 399 for 8 against the Netherlands. And the Netherlands just folded like a pack of cards, and they were bowled out for just 90 runs. But it was all about one man, Glenn Maxwell, and he definitely put the early innings impetus, which was provided by none other than the opening batsman David Warner, with a wonderful 104 of 93 deliveries, with 11 fours and 3 sixes into the shade. But let's talk about only Glenn Maxwell. But also, before I go to Glenn Maxwell, let me talk about Australia registered another record was also broken today as Australia registered a massive victory over the Netherlands by 309 runs. Another record created in World Cup history today when this becomes the highest ever margin of victory by any team against the opposition. And so, congratulations to Australia. They gave thorough entertainment to the Delhi spectators, and what a knock that was. Phew, it was absolutely breathtaking. And anyone who missed the action at the Arun Jaitley Stadium or on the television, I thought they missed the world. It was an absolutely a tremendous exhibition of stroke play from Glenn Maxwell of Australia. And take a bow, Glenn Maxwell. And talking about Glenn Maxwell, let us talk about the World Cup, the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023. Already saw this record of the fastest century broken in 2000 in this World Cup itself, not long ago in this World Cup by Aidan Markram of South Africa when he slammed a century of 49 balls against Sri Lanka. But let's talk about Glenn Maxwell again. Glenn Maxwell bettered that record by 9 balls. So it was a 40-run century, absolutely a blitzkrieg knock from Glenn Maxwell. It was not about monstrous hitting. It was about the finesse, the way he was driving straight down the ground, the cheekiness with which he played, and the way he maneuvered the bowlers. So basically, he used to, there was improvisation in his stroke making, there's dexterity in his stroke making. And besides that, one thing that he did, yes, it was 360-degree cricket, no doubt about it. But one thing that he did really was the most difficult thing to do in a cricket match, and that is to reverse pull the bowlers into the crowd for sixes, and that was done with consummate ease and amazing regularity, and that is a big feather in the cap for Glenn Maxwell. What a knock from Glenn Maxwell! Took the breath away today of the spectators or the world cricket fans. And as I said, I am rating this century by Glenn Maxwell, even though it came against Netherlands, as people would probably think, oh, he made it only against Netherlands. But let's not discount the fact. Let's not say that Netherlands have a very weak bowling attack. Yes, compared to others, they might lack the pace. I understand, but still, to make a to hit 100 of 40 balls, and then finally ended with 106 of 44 deliveries, 9 fours. Let's have a look at what time he walked in, Glenn Maxwell. Now, I think he walked in when the score when Cameron Green was gone, I suppose, with the score reading 290, and that was in the 43rd over. In fact, he was there with Cameron Green. I do remember. So 267 for 5. When David Warner departed, Glenn Maxwell walked in to join Cameron Green. And from that time onwards, if you looked at 267 in the 40th over, and when Glenn Maxwell departed in the 50th, the final over, he had already slammed 106. So that was some real great hitting from Glenn Maxwell, and it's only fitting, and it is like I mean they have slammed 126 runs in that gap of the death overs, and that was simply superb hitting. As I said, it was not about monstrous hitting. It was about a lot of things, as I told you: finish, dexterity, and he showed everything. So and the way he played it, I mean, he started off with some nice straight drives, some nice shots on the offside, and then slowly started getting into his groove. As he very rightly said in the interview, once he sussed up the pitch, he decided that it's time for him to wield the willow like a hammer, and that's what he did. He hammered all the Dutch bowlers all across the ground, and that was one wonderful innings from Glenn Maxwell, which will remain etched in memory for a long time in World Cup history. And as I said, it was a breathtaking innings from Glenn Maxwell, reverse hitting the bowlers for sixes, for boundaries, the power with which and this man has amazing power as well. So if you marry the power with the timing, you know how the ball travels. And that's what it was. The cricket ball was traveling to all parts of the stadium. And the way he was doing it, as I said, reverse hitting somebody for sixes is not an easy thing to do in cricket. And he was doing it time and again. Take a bow, Glenn Maxwell. What a knock from him. Absolutely blew off the Netherlands bowlers. Well, I do feel for the Netherlands bowlers, but on this day he was in a marauding form, one could call. And what it did for Australia, yes, it's a massive margin. And what has done for Australia is that Australia, due to that big hitting by Glenn Maxwell, have jumped into fourth position now. They have 6 points, and they're the only team with 6 points, and they're placed fourth in the ICC Cricket World Cup standings. India on the top with 10 points, South Africa with 8, South Africa and New Zealand on 8 apiece, and Australia with 6 points. So it really says this Australia is really have really done a sort of I would say a quantum jump here, for sure, no doubt about that. And looking at the Australian card, David Warner they definitely took the wicket of Mitchell Marsh pretty early, and that was a good thing for them. He was gone for 9. And looking at the after the toss, the toss was actually won by Australians, and the Aussies, definitely decided to bat first on this pitch. And as I said, they really racked up a huge score of 399 for 8. And for a team like Netherlands, it was always going to be a sort of a Herculean task to scale the target. And looking at the Australian team, David Warner with 104 of 93 balls, 11 fours and 3 sixes, was absolutely in his element. He was just careening along with his strokes, and also the way he dealt with the bowlers, and definitely just carried on the good form that he has, and everything I feel is coming together for Australia now. Stephen Smith, another good knock from Stephen Smith as well. 70, as I said, he put David Warner's century in the shade, but yes, it was a very good century. That the platform was definitely set by David Warner and Stephen Smith, and also and Stephen Smith with a nice 71 of 68, 9 fours, 1 6. Manas Labuschagne steadied it. I mean, he's a player who actually tries to hold the innings, and he was a sort of a glue for Australia. He did that, and then finally he also reeled off with some good sweep strokes as well. Reeled off 62 of 47, 7 fours and 2 6s, and then that Glenn Maxwell assault of 106 of 44 deliveries with 9 fours and 8 6s. And finally 399. Now, coming to the bowling figures of the Netherlands, this does not make any happy reading, but I have one question for the captain, Scott Edwards. Why was Colin Ackerman, who bowled 4 overs for 19 runs, was not given the quota to bowl the full 10 overs? The reason being that Colin Ackerman was the best of the lot. If you compare the bowling figures of the Netherlands bowlers, let's have a look at the Netherlands bowlers' bowling figures, which will give you a clear inkling of the fact that Colin Ackerman was the best. So, talking about Aryan Dutt, the Offie, 7 overs, no maiden, 59 runs on 1 wicket. Logan Van Beek, 10 overs, no maiden, 74 runs and 4 wickets. Paul Van Meekeren, 10 overs for 64. Vikramjit Singh, 4 overs, 27. 6 overs for 41 for Real of Van der Merwe. And Bas de Leede has the ignominious distinction of having the worst figures in World Cup history when he leaked 115 runs of his 10 overs, which included 2 6s. Maxwell did it to him. And one good word about the Netherlands fielding. The Netherlands fielding was absolutely top notch right from the start. They were just they were just prowling on the ball, and they saved a lot of runs. Probably these Aussie batting could have probably got 415 to 420. If at all they didn't get it, it was thanks to some superlative fielding from the Netherlands. So definitely, but the thing was that Glenn Maxwell's hitting definitely created a sort of a real pressure on the Netherlands bowlers and the fielders during the death bowling stages. And at that time, I thought the fielding definitely slipped a bit. We had a few misfields happening as well, which is expected. But definitely, such was the power of the Glenn Maxwell knock. Now, as far as Netherlands is concerned, there's nothing to really talk about. So I'm just going to summarize it by saying the Netherlands folded like a pack of cards, with Vikramjit Singh being the highest scorer with 25 of as many balls with 6 fours. Other than that, there is nothing to really talk about because nobody could even make over even 20 runs. So there was absolutely there was no partnerships, nothing, and this was all thanks to the quality bowling from the masterly Australian bowlers. Having definitely when you're challenged with a score of 399 to chase 400 runs for victory, one can understand what is the enormous pressure that a team, because the team has to go right. I mean, they have to go for a flyer. They have to go, I would say, slam, bang, wallop right from the first ball. So that is something which is expected. My commiserations to the Netherlands team, but their fielding, as I said, in the only barring the death overs, was an absolute marvel. Now, looking at the Netherlands card there, nothing to really talk about. But as far as the bowling is concerned, Adam Zampa is really coming into his own now, and that is great news for the Aussies because Adam Zampa, this is his third consecutive 4-4 as he picked up 4 wickets for 8 runs of 3 overs. Mitchell Marsh, 4 overs, 2 for 19, 4 overs, 1 for 14 for the captain Cummins. Josh Hazelwood, 6 overs, 1 for 27, and Mitchell Starc, 4 overs, 1 for 22. So what a day in the World Cup today with it's only all about Glenn Maxwell slamming the fastest century in World Cup history, breaking Aiden Markram's record, which was not set long ago, as I said, against the Sri Lankans. And tomorrow, the game which is coming up is another very interesting game which is coming up. England, who are the defending champions, who are totally disappointed in this World Cup, who are at the bottom rung of the table, are taking on the Sri Lankans. And the Sri Lankans, as far as the Sri Lankans are concerned, for them, yes, they have got out of the zero and they've got some points on the board, but it's time for them to get cracking. I think it should be an interesting game coming up. It should be chock full of runs. It's being played at Bengaluru in the at the I think the Chidambaram Stadium. It's being played there, and one really is waiting to have a glimpse of that match because England are under tremendous pressure. Well, dear fans and subscribers, hope you all loved this broadcast and look forward to meeting you all tomorrow on my next Cricket Happening show. Until that happens, it's your host Ram bidding goodbye to everybody. Thank you.